So hello students, the topic for today's lecture will be type of section for steel which are used in construction, as well as we will talk about the type of connections which are used in steel structures. So let's start. So there are many type of sections which are used in steel. So some of them are as following. First is the rolled steel section. So as we differentiate or classify it in the terms of its shape, so first one is the I section, which is very commonly used. Second one is the channel section, T section, angle section, Indian standard flat or round bars, and last one is rolled steel plates and sheets. So these are some sections which are used while designing a steel structure. So let's start in the details. First is the I section. So I section is further classified into different types. So there are many types of I section which are used in steel structures. First one is Indian Standard Junior Beams. It's abbreviated as ISJB. Similarly, ISLB will stand for Indian Standard Light Beams. Third one is ISMB, which stand for Indian Standard Medium Beams. Fourth one is ISWB, which stand for Indian Standard Wide Flange Beams, and last one is ISHB, which stands for Indian Standard Heavy Beams. So these are some type of I section and its further classification. So there is a section given here for an I section. So these are the various components of an I section. Like this part, upper part, is known as the top flange, whose value is abbreviated as TF. The thickness of this top flange is given as TF. Similarly, this is the middle part, this is the web part, and this downward is the bottom flange, whose thickness is TB. And this part, this curved part of the top flange, its value can be calculated by B minus TW upon 4. The overall height of this H section is H. So this is the section for an I shape. Second one is the channel section. Channel section is like this, like alphabet C. So it further classified in ISJC, which stands for Indian Standard Junior Channel, ISLC, which stands for Indian Standard Light Channel. Third one is ISMC, which stands for Indian Standard Medium Weight Channels, and last one is ISMPC, which stands for Indian Standard Medium Weight Parallel Flange Channels. So these are the different types of channel sections which are used in steel structures. Here's the figure for that, and this part value can be calculated as B minus TW by 2, where TW is the thickness of the web. Third type of channel section or rolled steel section is T section. So it is further classified into 5 categories: ISNT, which stands for Indian Standard Normal T-bars, ISHT, which stands for Indian Standard Heavy Flange T-bars, ISSLT, which stands for Indian Standard Special Long Leg T-bars, ISLT, which stands for Indian Standard Normal Light T-bars, and last one is ISJT, which stands for Indian Standard Junior T-bars. So these are the abbreviations which are used for the type of section in case of I, channel, or T section. And another type of section is angle section, which is given in an angle. So there are 2 categories of this. First one is ISA, which stands for Indian Standard Equal Angles, and another one is Indian Standard Unequal Angles, which stand for ISUA. Okay, or you can say it IUA. Fifth type and last type of channel section or steel section is flat and round bars. So this is further classified into 3 categories. First one is the Indian Standard Flats, which is generally taken as 8 mm. So these 8 mm is generally used as a stirrup part in the RCC structures. Second is Indian Standard Round Bars, which is used as a main reinforcement. And third one is Indian Standard Square Bars. So these are the types of rolled steel sections which are used and its abbreviation. Now we further move to the connections part. So generally, what is a connection? So when two or more members which are connected together by means of a fastener, means if we are joining two plates, these are the two plates. If you have to join these two plates, you certainly need a connection between them. So it can be done with the help of fastener. So it can be a rivet, it can be a weld, it can be bolt or other type of arrangement. So these are the types of connections. So if we have to connect this part, we have to connect with a fastener. So it can be a riveted part or a nut and screw arrangement. So as you can see from the connection part, so connections are of different types, as you can clearly see here from here. First one is the permanent, second one is the temporary. Permanent connection is which once done cannot be taken out. If it is taken out, it will damage the sheet or the things which are being connected. So first one is the riveted connection in terms of permanent, and second one permanent connection is the welded connection. So rivet connection, which is oftenly used in day-to-day life, like you must have seen in the homes also, that the fry pan or the pans which are being used as an insulating or heating element, the handle of that pan is connected by a riveted connection. Like also it is used in high security number plates for the vehicles, so it is riveted connection. It is semi-rigid. Second type of permanent connection is the welded connection. It is rigid, so once welding is done, it will not move. It is a rigid connection. In terms of temporary, first one is the bolted connection. You place a bolt there. On second type of temporary connection is the pin joint. So it can be easily removed when available. Okay, so now we will move to the detailed part of this. So first, for the permanent connection, we have riveted connection here. So what is a rivet? Rivet is generally, it is a metal pin with one side having a head and another side is known as shank. So if this is a rivet, this part is head and this part is a shank. Okay, so there are certain assumptions once we are dealing with the riveted connection. So the riveted connection is generally assumed as a permanent connection. It is, the assumptions are according to the IS code for steel structure, that is 800 1984. Now the new edition has come 2007, so you can relate with this. So the IS code which is used for this is IS 800 2007. So there are certain assumptions for riveted connections. First is that the friction between plate and rivet should be neglected. So in practical there will be a friction between plate and rivet, but while assuming that it is a riveted connection, we will neglect the friction between plate and rivet. Second is the rivet filled hole completely. Means if this is a plate and there is a hole for a rivet, so it should be completely filled with the head of the rivet. No gap should be there. So it is also assumed that no gap is there while we are doing a riveted connection. Okay. Third one is the stress distribution between rivet hole should be uniform. Means if this is a hole, the stress in all the directions should be same. Fourth one is when rivet is installed in groups, then load distribution per rivet should be uniform. If there are many number of rivets here, so the stress distribution or the load distribution in rivet should be uniform. So it should be same for this. So it is assumed. And last one is that the rivet can resist shear and axial stresses only. So it is not resisting any another load, it is only resisting the shear and axial stresses. So this is a diagram for rivet. I've already told you that this is the head part, this is shank, and this is the tail head. Okay, so there are certain types of rivet also. So what are those? So the types of rivets, first the rivet is classified on the basis of head, how the head is there. First is the snap head. So it is most commonly used. So this is the type of rivet having snap head. So its head part is calculated as 1.6 D, means it is the head part is 1.6 times the diameter of the shank, and this you can see clearly it is the diameter of shank, and its height, the height of the head is 0.7 D. So if these two conditions satisfy, then it is known as a snap head. Second one is the pan head. So this is commonly used, this first one is commonly used in the kitchenware or the hardware part. Second is the pan head. Pan head is can be of two types. One is this, second is this. So again the head part is calculated as 1.6 times D. This angle should be at 45 degree, and the height of the head is 0.7 D. It is same like snap head. Third one is the countersunk head. So this is the counter hang. In this the angle has increased, it is 60 here, and the head value is 1.5 times the diameter, and the height of the head is 0.5 D. Okay, so fourth one is the mushroom head. Mushroom head is again shown here, it is 1.5 D and 0.5 D in height. Fifth is the flat head. You can easily see from here, it is flat head. The definition itself is telling that it is not rounded on the top, it is flat. And second type of classification is done on the basis of installation. So installation means if it is a hand driven rivet, it is known as SD rivet, like it is done for the number plates. If it is power driven rivet, if it is done in the thick plate, it is known as PD rivet, hot rivet, cold rivet, shop rivet, field rivet. So these are the different type of rivet on the basis of its installation. On the type of joints, there are number of type of joints. First one is the lap joint, means two plates are placed on lap of each other and it is jointed by a means of a fastener. It can be a rivet, it can be a bolt, or it can be a weld. So first one is the lap joint. When two members overlap each other at certain length, means full length is not overlapped, only this length of both is overlapped, then it is known as a lap joint. Second one is the butt joint. Butt joint, as you have already learned in your workshop part, when two members connected end to end by means of extra cover, means there is extra cover or extra plate provided on the top as well as on the bottom, then this type of cover or joint is known as butt joint. So this is the first one is the single cover butt joint. In this the extra part or plate is only provided at the top and it is done by a fastener. Second type is the double cover butt joint. Here two plates are placed at the top and bottom and then it is placed by a fastener. So double cover butt joint is free from bending stress, means bending will not occur in double cover. It is more efficient in stress part. Okay, so that's all for today. In next lecture we will discuss more detail about these connections for temporary part. Okay, till then, thank you.